it's time for Coffee Talk. Where were you, Mike?
Oh, sorry.
You were sleeping.
I didn't know we were rolling.
You were sleeping today. We have a very special Coffee Talk, of course, brought to you by EFB, Electric Fountain Brewing. Thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to get up here and spill the tea. Today we have some special tea, and when I said that you were sleeping, you maybe slept a little bit on the intro, but you were not sleeping at the city council meeting last night. You went there with a purpose.
Yeah, hey, great segue there.
What do you think? It was pretty good.
It was really good.
Yeah,
you're
really good at
you're
that.
doing the best in the biz. Yeah, I mean, look, I went last night to speak at the city council meeting about this proposed, what is it, like 6.3%
tax.
Tax levy.
Yeah, property tax raising. And I was turned away because they were implementing some, I think, new rule that they conjured up that evening, that they take the sign-up sheet away 5 minutes before.
Yeah.
And look, I get that you want to do things a certain way, and I get that you want to, not have too much confusion. But personally, I'm just going to call it what it is. I think that, when they read these things, they read them 3 times. I think that the first one is to kind of let the public know, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I think the last one is, all right, we've all made up our minds, and now we're going to vote.
Yeah.
I think the middle one is, we need to all talk about this.
We got to get some things to percolate on.
Yes.
Yes.
And in most city council forums, or I don't want to say city council, in most local government forums, that is how that reading goes.
Yeah.
The first one being, this is what it is. The second one being, this is when we're discussing it.
Yeah.
And
And
then
this
the third
is-
one being just the title.
And the reason that these readings are happening is I think it's called the fair tax or law or something, because if it's over a certain amount, which I believe is 5%, they have to bring it to the public and have these 3 readings.
Yeah, they want the public to be informed. They don't want it to just be sprung on people. They
Right.
don't want to leave it up to just one reading.
Sure.
And so honestly, look, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but there's not a single doubt in my mind that they pulled that thing early that night because they don't want people talking about this. And I kind of get it. Look, they're in a hard spot.
Sure.
They have been told that they need to raise property taxes because it is a reflection of the perceived property value, meaning what are houses going for in Quincy right now? I do want to add though,
I have some things to say about that,
I
too.
walked up to the front, right? I was advised by prominent Quincyans, hey, just go up there. They'll let you read, or they'll let you speak. And I was turned away in a very sort of condescending way.
Yeah.
I voted for Mayor Moore, but the look in her eyes that night was, I don't want you to speak. There was no reason. I was looking at the sheet. It was right there.
So was she there next to Laura Oakman
Yes.
when this happened?
Yes, I was told to go up and speak with Laura Oakman because that's the thing. Is that what this is about? And by the way, in the bylaws of the city, it says that the sheet will be taken away just before the meeting begins. I've spoken in front of the city council a handful of times. It's
kind of
usually
arbitrary.
It's usually there 3 minutes after the allotted time. They
Sure.
pulled this thing early on purpose.
Okay.
And so my complaint here is that, look, if you're trying to do something specifically to get people to talk, don't be disingenuous. Don't say you're doing one thing when in fact you're doing another. It's about the spirit of the law. You could have very easily just let me sign up. You chose not to because you didn't want me to.
Right.
That's it.
Now, and when we're talking about the topic at hand, we are talking about the increase in property taxes, the EAV, which, again, I think has some arbitrary numbers involved, and you are very smart when it comes to why is this happening, where are these numbers coming from, why should we be talking about it, do we have to accept it? So it does muddy the waters when it comes to the job of the city council, the job of the mayor, the job of the assessor. I'm not saying, because I wasn't there, I'm not saying that they didn't want you to speak, but I do know that you speaking would have brought things to light that would make their job probably a little
I'm
harder.
sympathetic as to why they were doing what they were doing. I just don't like the method by which they did it. They're in between a rock and a hard place.
Sure.
There's virtually no way that they cannot raise these taxes.
I understand.
There's virtually no way.
But I do think that when you're saying there are processes in place, which you were informed of that night, that weren't really standard processes, right?
They're flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, let me interject real quick on this. So earlier today, you saw our minutes with the mayor, where Mayor Moore sat down with Bob Goff, and she did address this situation. Now, as Bob was reading her the bylaws, it said clear as day in our bylaws a couple minutes before. So no specific.
No, so just before.
Just before.
Just before.
No specific. There was no 5-minute rule.
No.
But what time did you get there?
What time did you?
I was standing in the lobby at 55.
Okay.
100% certain.
Okay.
Because I figured, I'll get there like 6-7 minutes early.
6-7.
And so I was standing there.
I'm sorry.
For the kids.
Gotta do it.
But I was definitely, I was there 5 minutes early.
I didn't want to cut you off. I just wanted to make that apparent.
But while this was happening, the communications specialist, Kristen Neiman, got involved with the person that I guess writes the law for them, saying, hey, we need to tighten this up. Because the fact of the matter is, it wasn't tightened up. You denied him his right to his First Amendment right.
No, it's technically illegal. It's technically illegal to not speak.
And you just opened up a huge can of worms by doing this. Yeah. Luckily, you and I are not the type of people that would
You're not litigious.
We're not litigious. We're not going to sue the city. But had we been different people and this happened, you could have opened up a can of worms just for merely not letting somebody speak.
You can't just do what you want because it suits you. And in this instance, they don't want people to speak because it's going to be a much smoother ride to what they are inevitably going to do anyways.
Right.
Like to put it in perspective, basically, the state says to cities, they go, look, you're falling behind on funding your pensions.
Sure.
Okay? So you have to cover them. Like we have an obligation as the state to these people. You have to cover this, so you have to raise your property taxes X amount this year to ensure that we're covering these pensions, right?
Yeah, but I do think that to call it an EAV tax is a little misleading when it should, and I mentioned this earlier, it should just be called your local government budget tax.
Yeah.
Because we are having taxes raised, whatever amount that is, I don't care if it's $2, to suit a shortcoming through pensions or public works or whatever it is. But to call it an EAV, to me says, my property is worth more money, so you're taxing me more money.
Yes.
Is that
so like this is like economics 101 inflation lesson, basically. Like what they're saying is the value of your house went up. But no, like there's two ways to view inflation, and either one can be correct depending upon the situation. So like the example that I would do is like, okay, like let's say you just got engaged and you just got this beautiful new diamond ring and you're standing outside and you're looking at your beautiful diamond ring out on the driveway, and then all of a sudden a meteor made of diamonds the size of New Hampshire explodes in the upper atmosphere.
and everybody has these beautiful diamonds.
It just rains fist-sized diamonds all over the earth, right?
I'm holding out my umbrella.
Listen, just so by the end of the day, you're shoveling, fist-sized diamonds into the gutters, right? Like Quincyans do with their leaves, even though they're not supposed to.
Yeah, blowing out in the street.
But so my point is that at that moment, as you're shoveling and you look at your diamond is worthless.
Yeah.
Because it's not about it's about a new influx of diamonds into the system.
Also perceived value.
Yes, that made your diamond now less rare. And rarity is what makes things valuable. So it's the same thing with the United States dollar.
Simple supply and demand.
Yes, we've been printing dollars from nothing for decades. And then COVID was the final nail in the coffin. When they're sending out, people thousands and thousands and thousands, trillions of dollars.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got pittance, but
in printed money, it devalued the dollar so much that immediately after that we all saw
Aren't they
going to
send out more too?
Who knows?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the crazy thing also is that like we get ahead a little bit. And so, the president is like, oh, well, we'll send this out to the people. No. Put it towards the tab.
Pay off the debt.
We have a tab.
Yeah.
Put it towards the tab, right? But so that's the thing, is that like we're sort of claiming disingenuously that that property values in Quincy have gone up when in actuality
hasn't.
the value of the dollar has gone down, and now I'm going to be punished again.
Yeah.
Right, with this inflation. And I think it's silly, and I think it all comes down to this pension debacle.
It is a debacle, and also I think that what's important about this conversation is we don't have to just sit back and eat it. We can have conversations.
But that's what is being told to us. It's just too difficult, Ashley.
It is difficult. It's also difficult to understand. So you only have a few people who are willing to stand up and challenge this, which I think is probably one of the reasons that maybe this was shut down. And I'm not saying that, right?
Yes.
So you have a few smart individuals, and I'm not discounting anyone because I don't know S about F when it comes to taxes. But I do know that there are a certain few people who do. And when they are standing up talking about it, it does make the job of passing these, tax bills, these levies, harder. So do we have to sit back and take it without challenging it? The answer is simply no.
Yeah. See, I think like the perception that it's impossible to. So to be clear, like I'm a teacher, I get a pension, but I think that firemen, police, teachers, I think it should all be the same. What should happen is everyone who was promised a pension should get a pension. Now, this is going to be really difficult to fund.
Obviously.
As
it already has been.
Like, even if we move all new hires to a 401k, which, by the way, if you're savvy with a 401k,
you can make it work for you.
You will outperform your pension 3 times over. Like, it's silly to not want a 401k
And there are
system.
businesses out there who will help you do that.
Yes. Like at the very least, like if we did this, let's have the best financial advisor that we have in town advise. You get 2 yearly meetings with the guy, and he will tell you like, hey, put your money here, put your money there.
That's somebody I wouldn't mind funding with my tax dollars.
Yeah.
To help these people
exactly.
Yeah, right.
But so we move everybody new to a 401k system. Now, like everybody will tell you that's impossible because you have to get approval from the state, you have to fight the unions, all this. To that, I would say this. Number one, it is more possible now than it ever has been because the state of Illinois knows if we don't do something, you're going to have dozens and dozens and dozens of bankrupt cities in the next decade.
You're also going to have mass exodus to Missouri,
Yes.
especially being so close to the border.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like we are eyeing Palmyra hard.
100%.
Right. So that's a major problem is that just the difficulty in getting it done. But I think like more than ever, we probably have an opportunity to get it done now, probably better than we ever have.
But there are also other avenues rather than just abolishing pensions. I mean, there are ways that we can hold, the city accountable to kind of advocate for our citizens. And one of the ways that I think has to happen is, okay, we can't keep taxing above what the cost of living raises that we're getting.
Right.
So if we can ask to cap these, the taxes at about or even under what our cost of living is happening, we can request that. We can appeal these taxes. There are different avenues that we can take to try to circumvent some of these things that I feel like up until now, we've just felt like we just have to keep taking it in the A because we just don't know anymore. And I think that
the population is shrinking.
Yeah.
The population is shrinking. So not only are we going to be paying for way more firefighters and police officers than we currently need, which once again, this is not a slight against these people.
No. We all have a lot of great friends who work in these public sectors. Yeah.
You should get everything that you were promised.
100%.
You should get what you were promised. But new hires, 401k system.
Yeah.
Otherwise, legitimately, 3/4 of this town is going to be priced out. And then the other side of that is all of these houses are getting bought up by landlords.
100%.
Get on Realtor.com and look at houses in between $100,000 and $200,000. Every single one of them will be on there for a day, or they're pending,
they're contingent,
or they're contingent.
You can't find them.
Every single one of them. And so that's a problem with this also, this perceived increase in value. Because a landlord knows what it takes to make his nut on this property, he has no problem going, $130,000? Sure. Whereas the single family guy or girl would go, what about 120?
Yeah.
And while you're asking them, what about 120? They're
Somebody's
selling
asking,
to the landlord who already has lending ready to go. He's got a bank. It's all, he knows everything that he needs to do. It's a very simple equation. as to whether or not I'm going to make my money back as a landlord.
Right.
It's this, this, and this. Do they all add up? If the answer to that is yes, I know exactly what I can pay for this and make my money.
Right. And I do think that, when we're talking about capitalism, stuff like that, obviously we don't want to hold that back. But I think as far as like taxing EAV, we do have to be transparent. We have to be able to have these conversations. We also have a duty to let people know that this isn't necessarily something we have to swallow. I've had multiple people inbox
Fire
me.
people.
Yeah.
Cut services.
So when I'm talking about capping what you're taxing your citizens, then it forces the city to look within their operations to cut costs because you can only tax this much, but so far we have not done that. Yeah. So if we did instate that, then they would only be able to tax us X amount, and then they would have to find ways to be more efficient internally. That may cause some of us to struggle a little bit, but I think it would also create the opportunity to look inward to how can we be more efficient, which, let's be honest, every American, every Quincyan is having to do every single day. Mm-hmm. So why are we so quick to say, you know what? Yes, we do need to fund this. Yes, we don't need to cut. The library asking for more money is laughable.
Well, I love that. Insane. I love that also. I love that. Okay, so like with this whole not pulling the sign up sheet 5 minutes before. The city of Quincy gets rid of Facebook comments. Yeah. And Mayor Moore goes on the record as saying she didn't want kids reading what people were saying in the comments. Well, two things. Number one, kids aren't on Facebook. I think we all know it's all old people at this point. Secondly, we're all right with pornography in the kids section of the public library, but we don't want them reading the comments. Let's get real.
Yeah.
Let's get real. No, what it is about is you don't want dissension. You know that it's bad for politics to have people on there saying things that run counter to the official narrative that you're floating. And honestly, I wouldn't have said all of this, but last night rubbed me really, really, really the wrong way.
Yeah.
I want to touch on that real quick. So another thing that we talked about, these 3 readings, right?
Yeah.
So the first reading is when it's proposed. The second reading is when you hear the public comment, because on that third reading, our aldermen are going in there with their decision already made. Now, I have been told by some people, that have said they already made their decision.
Yeah, sure.
And I get that. But the second reading and having him speak at that second reading was so pertinent because now you can go there on this third reading and again, it's not going to resonate with them because
they've already made up
their mind. Not only because, I'm not trying to dog on their intelligence. We're all human. We don't make brash decisions.
Well, we don't know all sides to every story when we're being fed a narrative. So to have someone like Mike come in and speak to a room of people who are really invested in what the city is doing.
And I think it could have made an impact.
Yeah.
Well, the look on the alderman's face is if I would have had to have guessed, I would have guessed they were totally cool with me speaking.
Oh, sure.
Nothing against the aldermen. I think that they really are kind of in a tough spot with this.
100%.
Because they know what has to happen, but they know that it's not right. They know this is just one more example of
kicking the can down the road.
Kicking the can down the road. So I guess my message to if any of them are watching this or to anybody who's watching this is, okay, you're going to raise our taxes 6.3% or whatever it is. It's a foregone conclusion. I know it's going to happen. Let's use this as the beginning, though, of really getting involved in trying to solve this situation. Don't just say, oh, it would be so hard to do. Let's find out. Let's find out how hard it is.
Yeah.
We have to do
some
this.
Homework, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to, the entire state is going to be bankrupted by this. And you know what? I've been going to these meetings and speaking and saying this for a really long time. And generally when I'm going and I'm speaking, what I'm talking about is some entity has come to the park district or the city council and they're asking for a crazy amount of money to do something that we don't need.
Right.
So I'm there going, look,
pinch it.
The pensions, this is going to get us. And, obviously it doesn't stop people from asking, but I think now we're really seeing the trouble that we're in.
Sure.
But Mike, I really want my splash pad down by the river.
Me too. I want a homeless shower also.
Well, I think so pensions have always been a source of contention, not because we don't love our public sector. I mean, we know we need fire. We know we need
people used to live to 55.
Right. But now you have people who are retiring at let's say 45, then getting another job with another
living
pension,
to
and it's
90.
like, well, and then it's
Yeah.
just
And
it's
doubling up on their pensions.
doubling up on
Smart
pensions.
move on your part.
Very
Yeah.
smart. No dogging on that.
No shame on
but
you
it,
and your
but
games.
it is
Yeah.
such a pincher on
Yeah.
the normal taxpayer that we don't even know where we're, if we're coming or going with all of, and it's almost like the occurrence of the tax raise that, yes, I know you have to raise taxes. This much? This often?
Yeah.
It seems like.
Also, look at the bloat in the city of Quincy. I mean, let's get real.
Well, that's why I say we need to look.
How many buildings does the city of Quincy occupy today versus 1945?
Yeah.
And like, what's the population? It's exactly the same.
Right.
You know, the population hasn't changed in Quincy more than 10,000 over the past 100 years.
Right.
Like, that's a real stat.
Right.
You know? So, like, why could they get away with so much more than we can today when it seems like, you seen pictures of Main Street from the 1940s?
Yeah.
It looks like a paradise.
Ooh, I want to be there.
It looks like a 1950s
If you grew up in Quincy,
paradise.
Okay, so obviously.
And look at us today. Not crapping on Main Street. Main Street's great. I'm just saying, like, in particular, you look at the centers of commerce in Quincy in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and you're like, oh my God. And now we have more government than we ever have before, and less and less and less than we've ever had to show for it.
Yeah, and I think that, again, not dogging on Quincy, but it is obvious that pensions have changed. The need for them has changed.
Yes.
The union aspect, I know that's a whole new conversation, but everything that's happening is killing our community.
Yes.
And if you really, really, really care about Quincy, we have to take a step back and say, what can we do differently?
Yeah, like I wouldn't be opposed to things like the riverfront. I wouldn't be opposed to trying a new TIF district if I knew that there was money in the coffers.
But we have to make
there
sure
isn't.
that we're not robbing Peter to pay Paul, but then robbing the rest of us to really pay no one.
That's
And
what
we're
it's
just getting
become.
screwed.
Yeah, that's what it's become.
Yeah, and then Illinois is the dirty step parent that is just stealing it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
there are things in place that we can't avoid, but there are questions we can ask, and there are people who can step up, and there are things to dig into. Do your own research, do your due diligence.
And that's what people always say around here. They go, we're not the highest in Illinois.
Yeah,
yes,
we
but
are.
We're significantly higher than the rest of the
Well, I
nation.
did some homework
Like, just
on
because
that.
Illinois sucks doesn't mean that that our taxes aren't incredibly high.
I did homework on that. So
Yeah.
the median tax rate is 1.02%. In Illinois, we pay about 2.03%, and in Quincy, we pay roughly 2.32.
Yes, and so there are other places in Quincy
There's some
that
dollars
are
for you.
higher.
Yeah.
But not in the U.S.
No.
We are crazy high for the rest of the U.S.
Yes.
Right? So, once again.
But where's that money going?
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, if it were coming back to our community in a sense of improvement, to which you said earlier, we're not any better off.
My feeling would be bloat and waste. And my feeling, and I think that my message, like with this 6%, I would say you need to find, I think really that the city council needs to find some of this bloat and waste in the city of Quincy, and they need to eliminate it. And we need to meet somewhere in the middle of that 6% number. Okay, raise it 3%. But close down this nonsense that we don't use and fire these people that do nothing.
Right.
You know, let's make a concerted effort to actually meet in the middle, which is not going to happen. But
my cost of living is going up way less than 6 point whatever percent. So
well, this is only the city.
I know.
This is only the city.
But
we're not even talking about the county.
Well, we're not talking
and
about the county, the library. We're not talking about the.
Well, the library is another. They're going to mark my words. They're going to make the library its own taxable
They should.
They
body.
need
They should.
to. That's
Do
what
you
I was
think
getting.
so?
I was getting ready to say yes, because then we can vote on who
It's-
is on the
Okay.
board.
Mostly based
and
on
then it doesn't
transparency.
turn
From
into-
that
From transparency
standpoint, I
aspect.
would agree with you.
then it doesn't turn into, the
Yeah.
display being some kind of agenda. We could actually represent our library board based
The
on.
library, right now is so insanely politicized.
Yeah.
It just makes you sick.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you have to have an actual argument with someone, like this idea, like Brittany and I, for instance, have been staunch supporters of the homosexual community.
100%.
Basically our entire lives. For the first time in our lives, people are calling us homophobic because we're like, this book called This Book is Gay is quite literally child pornography that you want made available to 12-year-olds in the public library. And like all of a sudden people are like, they don't even read it. They just go, you homophobe.
Yeah.
No. It talks about how to give a handy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my 12-year-old having that. And the
Sure.
fact that, like, so not to digress, but like the library, yes, I will agree with you on that point. We do need to be able to choose the leadership, because right now the leadership is bananas.
Well, it's just that it goes back to the transparency, and obviously it's political, but our dollars, when we're making money, we are not politicizing our dollars. They're being politicized for us in a way that we don't agree with.
Yes.
And I really struggle with that
That's a
as a
great-
general taxpayer, right?
Yes.
So if we can just take all of that out of the connection here, that would be really cool. But in order to do that, you have to be able to fully elect your leadership.
And as nice as your guys' reasoning is for turning the library into its own taxable entity, I don't think that's why it's going to happen. I think that they're going to do it because they know that, like, they just want to say, well, go raise your own money. You go be the bad guy.
Right now, though,
you tell them that you want a 3% increase.
The state demands, though, that we give the public library a budget. I don't know. I'm assuming there are ways to take that out of place because other communities have done it. But right now, it's the state demanding that we give that budget. I do want to say I'm actually kind of, I mean, in light of you losing your right to your First Amendment speech to the local government, you got more than 3 minutes. You got a nice little
100%.
platform on here.
Yeah.
Hopefully people watch this. I know that doesn't happen for everyone. I guess I have to.
Doesn't everybody watch?
100% of people, 100%
But, like, my thing
watches
is,
100% of the
if I have
time.
to, and I know you didn't want me to say this, but it's like, I take the punches for some
I don't care if
things,
you say it. I
So
think
I'm going to take the perks for the podcast as well.
I do think that it
Also, last thing, no one, I repeat, no one will dictate how I operate my public Facebook page.
I do think that it is fortunate that we were able to sit down and have this conversation. I don't think that everyone has this platform. However, I don't think this has happened to a lot of people. I think the last time that this happened was
12 years ago.
10 plus years ago. And this isn't, again, a dog on the city, but let's use this as a learning opportunity to create some standard work. When you have people that go up to speak, you start a timer that is 3 minutes. Let's maybe, create some more efficiency and effectiveness of
Don't
these
make
meetings.
hurdles for it. If
But
you want people to
that's what-
actually be there,
your call is for
then-
people to be engaged.
then let that happen.
Yeah.
I understand there are rules behind it, but you're sitting there saying, we're not trying to silence people. We're not trying. Well, I mean, last night.
That's quite literally what they were doing.
Yeah. So
And-
we can. What is it? You can put dressing on a pig.
You can't polish a turd.
I love dressing though.
Britneyisms, we call them.
Yes. Okay. So, and then I also think that it is important not only to be engaged with your city, with your city council, with the leadership, which we do love. I mean, I don't want this isn't a personal attack on our leadership. We love them.
No, but speaking about things,
think we're doing
works.
great things.
Like
it does.
protesting things.
That's what I was going to say.
Demonstrating, talking, going to city. It works.
Even being
it's an effective thing.
Even coffee talk, we have made waves
Yes.
just by having conversations because
Absolutely.
not a lot of people want to be engaged with the city council because it is confusing. It is
intimidating.
inundating. So when we kind of bring things to the table to talk about it, but also make it more digestible, it sometimes helps. So my hope is that this helps as well.
Me too.
I'm sorry that you weren't afforded your right. I'm
it.
also really hopeful that people get engaged and realize that just because we have to fund these things doesn't mean we have to swallow the way they're being put to us.
Last thing I will say on this is I'm a huge supporter. I think everyone knows. I've tried to not really put it out there, but of this administration,
100%.
I voted for Linda Moore.
They love each other.
I do.
Yeah,
yes.
listen, I'm turning the page
and
with
so-
Linda. We're good.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
she doesn't know who I am, but we'll.
no, she doesn't.
Maybe she'll remember me this time.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is coffee talk.
Yes. So
Brought to you by EFB. We got to give you our
Good News Brews. So we like to percolate on some good stuff happening throughout the community, which community engagement is one. Let's hear another.
All right, so I just was scrolling through the Facebook looking for some places for the Toys for Tots drop off. I've got a couple extra things that didn't fit into my shoebox. We did the Christmas shoe boxes.
Yep. Thank you
so-
for picking mine up, by the way.
Yeah. So just a couple little items, toys to drop off. Good Samaritan Home is one of those locations, and I encourage everyone to go there. They have it right in their front box. This brings joy to some of the residents, seeing the toys being filled up. Not to mention, then you can look across the street at Clark Griswold's house, especially if you're dropping it off after 4 p.m. and it's dark. We'll make that
all the best.
a
All the
photo
what are
feature
they
one
called?
of these
Blow
days.
molds?
All the blow molds.
They got all of them.
blow molds,
Yeah. Very, very cool. And I'm sure that the residents enjoy seeing everybody come in and drop off the toys. So
Absolutely. So
how
drop off
very,
your
very
toys
cool.
at Good Samaritan Home.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. Great Good News Brews. I know that those boxes are located throughout the community, but
Yes.
obviously do what you can. Thank you so much, Mr.
Yeah,
Mike,
sure.
for
Thank
coming
you
Thanks
on.
for
for
having me.
carving time out of your day,
Absolutely,
even
no.
though you carved all that time yesterday.
It is
That's
very
not being
important.
denied.
And we hope that you've enjoyed this coffee talk. Send us your feedback, get engaged. That's what we're here for. We got to do good things for ourselves and for the rest of us, and that's what
And
we're
if you
here for.
want to be a guest,
Yeah, holla.
Holler.
We're always open to feedback and open communication and discussions. We like to come to a table.
that way you just don't always hear about Ashley and my Christmas list on
Yeah,
Coffee
but you know what? It all balances out.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that does it for today's
Coffee
Talk. Thank you for not sleeping on that, and thank
got
you, EFB.